authors, I'm Erin from Book Rockstar, here to talk about what authors should be posting on social media during their book launch. Now, before we dive in, be sure to hit subscribe so you can get more book launch strategies and advice. So, social media platforms are a valuable marketing resource for authors. When an author establishes a network of potential readers on these platforms, they have an audience to whom they can promote their work. Now, the specific content that you share on social media will differ depending on the genre of your book and the platform you're using to connect with readers, but overall, the strategy is the same across the board. When it comes to social media content during a book launch, there are key strategies that you need to remember: authenticity, consistency, knowing your audience, and the 80-20 rule. So let's break these down a little bit more. First and foremost, what you share on social media should be authentic and true to you. As you're likely passionate about the contents of your book, posting about related topics often appears genuine. For example, if you've written a book about how to become a sales expert, you might share an article you read that includes interesting data that pertains to the industry. Or, if you've written a sci-fi novel, you might share your thoughts on a new sci-fi TV series. You can also share content that allows your readers to get to know the person behind the author. For example, you might post a recipe for a meal you prepared, or instructions for a fun craft that you made, or a photo of you and your friends doing a unique activity together. It's always helpful to include a caption that provides more information so that others can learn more about you from the post. For example, if you share a recipe, you might explain that your grandmother taught you how to make this dish when you were a child. So when you let other people know a little bit more about your life, it makes you seem more human and less distant as an author, and it helps create that relation between you and your reader. The second key strategy is consistency. As an author, it's essential to post and interact consistently with your audience on social media, on the platform where they spend their time. Now, this is an important thing to note. Don't waste your time and energy on a social media platform that doesn't cater to your target reader. I see a lot of authors getting burnt out on social media because they're spreading themselves way too thin across different platforms, which doesn't allow them to effectively reach any readers. So if you're trying to establish an audience on any of these platforms, my general recommendation is to share at least 3 to 4 posts a week, but with some platforms, you might even want to consider posting daily. Now, once you've established an audience size that you're content with, you can post less frequently, but still aim to post consistently. For example, you might only share 1 or 2 quality posts each week. Now, I know this sounds like a lot of work, but I try to use these same strategies to grow my business, and I see that the results are possible when I'm posting on a consistent basis. So if your goal is to get your book in front of more potential readers, you cannot skip this strategy. In order to maximize visibility for your book during launch, you'll want to post more frequently in the months leading up to your release day and continue that during the following months. You can share book-related content like a cover reveal, your media appearances, or information related to your book topics or the writing process, or you could just continue to share life updates with your audience during this time. Anything is beneficial as long as it's consistent. Now, the third key strategy when it comes to social media content is knowing your audience. You need to ask yourself these questions about your target reader. What are their desires? What questions are they asking themselves? What emotions are they feeling? Do they relate to humor? Do they have any specific interests or hobbies? Are they identifying with any specific demographic, like a specific age group, parenthood, a specific religion or profession? When you have clarity on who your target reader is, it opens up the door for you to create content that you know will speak to them. For example, if your reader is a single mother with young children who's feeling stressed and overwhelmed, you can share content on social media with practical strategies and tools that can help alleviate some of this stress for that reader. Often, you'll be sharing content that scratches the surface of what you share in your book, providing enough food for thought and creating that intrigue for what can be found in your book. But you might find that sometimes simply sharing a funny story or a meme is a great way to connect and relate to your target reader, especially if that story or meme connects to the reader's experience with your book. Now, the fourth key strategy is the 80-20 rule. This rule states that 80% of your content should provide value to your audience, while the other 20% of your content should include some sort of call to action. So an example of valuable content could be helpful advice based on your topic or industry, authentic updates about your life or about your work. Could be an article or a podcast that you find interesting or entertaining that you want to share. In these posts, you're giving your audience value. You're not asking them of anything, but then in that other 20% of content, you do want to make an ask, like for them to join your newsletter, join a webinar, download a free content, like a free chapter, all in exchange for an email address, or you might ask them to purchase the book. Following this rule, the 80-20 rule, means you won't overwhelm your followers with constant promotion, because when you over promote, it can cause people to get annoyed, maybe unfollow you. So make sure you're giving them plenty of valuable content so that they stick around. Now, following the strategies that I shared in this video might sound like a full-time job, but if you're an author who's serious about getting your book in front of more people, you need to factor these into your launch strategy. I wish there was a magic wand that did all of this for authors. It would definitely make my job a lot easier, but it takes time, it takes work, and it takes focus to make it happen. But when you do it, you never know who you're going to have an impact on. If you're an author, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any other book launch strategies or tips. Lastly, are you finding success on social media? Help your fellow authors by sharing the content you post that gets the most engagement here in the comments.